My 25F parents, 51F, 54M, are very disappointed in who I am now seeing, 23F. Hello. I am trying to write this post in a non-biased way, which may not be the final product of this post. I don't want to paint anybody in a bad light or make people seem like they're being grossly unfair, but I'm just in a situation I've never dealt with. Background: I am my parents' only child. I have been the apple of their eye. They pushed me hard to excel and I am very grateful for many things they did for me. I had a relatively easy childhood, to say the least, and my parents and I were always very close to each other. I played the piano, the violin, and the flute, and my parents attended all my recitals. I was on the basketball and volleyball team and they never missed a game. I would perform in the marching band and branched out to color guard and they never missed a show. My parents were supportive of everything I did and graciously helped pay for my college, 50/50, where I now work as a private educator and absolutely love it. While in high school, I dated a boy my age that we'll call Tim. Tim was amazing, and we were together from age 15 to 23. We broke up due to simply growing up and becoming different people. It was amicable and we are still on good terms and have overlapping social circles. I see him at parties and get-togethers and we always catch up like nothing ever changed. In a way, I'll always love him, but it's been well over a year since I ever pined for him or thought about him daily. He's studying to become the lawyer he always wanted to be. In the past month he's started dating another girl from his school and she and I get along just fine at get-togethers, too. My parents obviously really liked him. He was motivated and well-trimmed. Came from a similar background as us. His parents were sporty and fun. Our parents still hang out, though they always wish that we would get back together. Which makes me feel bad for Tim's new girlfriend. I always iterate Tim was great but we just weren't meant to be together. We were young when we were together and were the hopeless teens that always imagined our wedding days and children's nurseries together. But as we grew older, we confronted reality. Tim will always be one of my best friends, but he will never be my intimate lover like that again. In the past year, I've become very close to one of my dearest best friends who I met in college. She was a pharmacy major while I was education. We always had boyfriends at the time but were always so close to each other. We confide everything in each other. In the past year, obviously it's been rough, and we leaned on each other for support. We could vent our professional and personal frustrations or just get together to relax, watch a movie, and tune the whole world out. In that time, however, we became closer and more romantically involved. It started with brief kisses to test the waters. She had been with girls in the past, but I never had. My bisexuality was never lost on me and Tim was kind enough to explore that with me. I've had experience with girls but never dated one, and that was a fear I expressed to Edan. Edan was understand, naturally, and we took things slow and steady. But now I feel we have a solid foundation together and genuinely call each other the other's girlfriend. I'm glad I stepped out of my comfort zone because I've found true comfort and a warm love from her. Though the relationship is still new, I feel optimistic about being with her. When my parents found out my new partner was a girl, however, I could see the disappointment oozing out of them. They saw a future of grandchildren and a normal family, whereas now their only child is in a gay relationship and more on the side of never having children. I love my students, I just don't want any for myself. Contact from my parents has significantly dropped. Usually I have to check in first to evoke a conversation from them. Sometimes I call and no one answers. If I come to visit on the weekend, we stumble into awkward silences and the hesitation to ask how Edan is becomes very apparent. I know it's a shock and they grew up in a different time. They may not understand, but I'm at a loss on how to explain without having to justify my choices. They still tell me they love me and never turn me away if I pop over. I just wish things didn't have to be so weird. It's like walking on eggshells. I was hoping maybe they just needed to warm up to the idea, but we've been together for 5 months now and it's still just as weird. Edan has met them, too, and commented that I had quiet parents when that's not the case at all. My parents are a hoot and have the loudest, most distinguishable laugh in a room. Has anyone dealt with this or have advice? I'm going to post this and do my work to take my mind off things. I want to return to this post with a clear conscience that is open to any and all feedback. Thank you for taking the time to read this. TL, doctor, parents are disappointed I am now seeing a woman instead of a man. Feeling awkward with my parents and I despise it. How do I normalize my new relationship? How do I make my parents understand I didn't change? Give it time. I know it took my parents some time to fully adjust to my older sister coming out as gay. They are about 10 years older than your parents and it doesn't seem like your parents are unwilling to meet your girlfriend, so that is a very good sign. Best thing is to honestly wait it out. Let it take its time. And on a personal note regarding the normal family, homosexual couples can have as normal a family as a heterosexual one, so even if you wanted kids that wouldn't really be a problem. Happily adopted child here. I think you should talk to them. Plan a dinner with just you and them, and approach a conversation the information you have. Mom and Dad, I've noticed for the past few months that you both don't seem as talkative or outgoing. I know that with the changes in my life, me and Tim separating, and now that I'm with a woman, it's probably been a lot for you to process. It could be all in my head, but I notice when Edan is over or we talk about her that you're both a lot quieter than I'm used to. I just wanted to check in to see if something was on your minds or you want to share your feelings with me. I've been in this situation before when my girlfriend and I got engaged. My dad acted super weird about it. Turned out it was just him adjusting to the fact that I was getting married and he wasn't quite ready to see that happen. He was worried. It could be anything. Be prepared with all the changes in your life. Your relationship with your parents can change as well. I'm an only child, so I understand the closeness with your parents. But you might have to start being more comfortable with some distance like you've been experiencing. It's not always a negative thing, but for you it is new. It is normal to start separating a bit more from your parents though. You're not doing anything wrong. You dated a great guy for a while, now you're dating a great girl. It's not a crisis situation. I would give them time to adjust. 5 months isn't a very long time. Keep them in the loop about your life, keep Edan in your stories to them and make it clear she's not going anywhere, and reevaluate in time. A few people in this thread are being too extreme with saying either they accept you, or you leave. Way up phrased it, it doesn't sound like they don't accept it as much as it is readjusting to a situation they didn't expect. Of course it's not on you to justify it to them since nothing you're doing is wrong. But I think giving them a little more time to warm up to your girlfriend is a good idea. Try to find any similarities or hobbies you think both your parents and your girlfriend would enjoy, and either suggest a day where you do them or at least mention to your parents you know Eden also likes. Basically just trying to show your parents that however different she may be from your ex, she still has some mutual interest as them. You should also discuss with them what it is that makes them the most uncomfortable with your relationship. Laying out your feelings on the table type thing. Once again, from what it sounds like, your parents are not opposed to the idea, they just need more time to fully accept that their vision for you is not going to actually happen, and that they should rather trust you to build your own vision for yourself. I agree that you probably just need to give it more time. As you mentioned, growing up, your parents likely had a vision of what they wanted for you in life, and now that vision has changed. That's probably a bit uncomfortable for them. They saw things one way for 25 years, they probs need more than 5 months to see it another way. At the end of the day, they still love you and welcome you, and they also have kinda accepted your partner. So yay to that. I think this kind of like a GPS when you start taking a different route that it didn't expect. It stops and needs time and says recalculating. That's what they are doing. Recalculating. I want to add something. My mum once explained to me what the German word Enttäuschung, disappointment, really means. Täuschung means illusion, and means something like getting rid of something. Even though Enttäuschung is a word mostly used in a negative context, it's not actually a negative thing. It just means that what you assumed turned out to be not true. Got rid of an illusion. And you're never to blame for the illusions other people made for themselves. My friend, 39 meters, is obsessed/made a finsta with me and won't move on. 25F. I never was official with Ray, 39 meters, but we were talking/being FWB for a while. I considered it dating. I'm 25F. I think he felt like it was always more and going to be more, but ended up going back to an ex and I moved on with my life. We dated 3 years ago. I recently found a finsta, fake Insta, he made various posts going back 3 years about me. In the posts, he talks about losing the love of his life, and through details I've confirmed it's me. He writes about how he's upset I moved on, how he's miserable, asking people close to me about me, interactions with me, and seeing me from a distance. He also writes about how to get me back. It's not threatening, but it is weird and creepy. He wrote about how it seems like I've talked to him less and less over the past year and why, which is sprinkled in with stuff about how he hates me since I won't talk to him. He's married now with a kid, and his public Instagram is followed by 10k. He seems to be a very well-liked person. What do I do? Do I report this account to his wife or just keep monitoring it? Do I tell him I found it? Too long didn't read. Friend/XFWB Ray, 39 meters, made a fake Instagram where he vents about me. Seems like he hasn't moved on from our relationship 3 years ago and bemoans how I have. What do I do? That's super weird and creepy. The fact he are angry with you for moving on yet he had a wife and kids is disturbing. I'd do what the post above says and send to the wife and block, but first take a bunch of screen caps and save them, just in case it ever progresses beyond social media. It's disturbing. He most likely had painted me as obsessed with him, so not sure if sending to the wife is best, unless it's anonymous. I think regardless of whether or not you want to act on it, you should document it. Screenshot everything and store it somewhere safe, in case you ever need it. Secondly, tell the people close to you to put him on an information diet. Personally, I wouldn't act on it beyond that. I think he could be dangerous, especially if he felt cornered, and I don't think anyone telling you to tell his wife could guarantee your safety. Your safety comes first. You don't have very actionable information to give her anyway, like you would if you knew that he were cheating or that he did something violent, at least, more violent than obsessing and ranting about someone he's not actually naming. That's not to diminish what he's doing, which I think is creepy and indicative of someone who doesn't view women as people. If I were married with a kid, I'd want to know what kind of man I was dealing with. But as of right now, he's out of your life short of trying to gain information about you. Hopefully you can start to control that on your end, and hopefully without throwing up alarms that you know about his finsta. I think him being out of your life is exactly where you want him to stay, and hopefully you can keep things that way by not poking the bear that isn't, thus far, crossing your path. And also delete this post. Two things on this I see. 1, it may be obvious to you that this is the same guy, but would it be obvious to his wife? If you did send it to her, is it possible she may not believe it's her husband? 2, how public is the fake account? Like, how many followers? Are the followers people who know him or you? I ask because, maybe he's just using this as a type of journal. I agree that of course this sounds super creepy, but many people use journals to help them process thoughts and emotions. I can say that most people would feel uncomfortable reading journal entries that others have written about them. While I totally agree that it feels very uncomfortable and weird to see these things about you, perhaps if he really isn't doing anything inappropriate, like stalking, you should just block this and move on. She may know it's him or completely deny it. She knows of me, from what I know. It's public with a handful of bot followers and he's following a bunch of news and model accounts. So it looks legit. He has about 150 posts on it, I'd say 100 are about me. I agree about the journaling, but if he were to do that, why not buy a journal or use a blank Word doc or blog? Do people still blog? Why post it Instagram? He's not stalking in the sense of finding my house, but it looks like he does stalk my public Instagram for work and found my apartment on Zillow because he says things about it. My 23F father has dumped the financial responsibilities of the household, including my 15 years/0 sister, on me and went away. I'm a 23F from India. My parents are divorced since 10+ years and me and my younger sister have been living with my father and grandmother since. My mom has remarried and has a whole new family now, although we still keep in touch and are close with her. It was decided at the time of separation that my father would be responsible for me and my sister. I just graduated recently recently in 2020 and got my first ever full-time job in July. As soon as that happened, my father quit his job as he has never liked working. He asked me to sustain the household, which includes me, my sister, my grandmother, and my father, with my income, and every month I'm the one paying for whatever is required in a household. He has even declared that he has no money for my sister's school fees and has asked my mom, who can't pay the fee either, to pay, so at the end even that expense is on me because I love my sister and won't let her future be ruined like this. Come from a very lower middle class background and my father's income was not that great to invest in savings. Everything was used up for the day-to-day livelihood. Even my college fees was funded by the money we got from a policy that my mom insisted on doing when I was born, otherwise I probably would not have graduated. I did not take any pocket money from my father for the last 3 years either and sustained myself working part-time as a home tutor. It was enough to cover my travel and other personal expenses outside the house. He recently left home and went to look for property in the countryside. He wants to live a peaceful life in the countryside, but we have no savings whatsoever to buy and shift our entire lives in a secluded place, especially when my sister is just 15 and studying in school. I don't know what he wants and he guilt trips me to pay for everything by saying that he has sustained and helped me grow to this point all his life, so can't I do the same for him? Even my grandmother emotionally holds me hostage by saying if I don't pay bills and for food, what will we eat? I just want to live my life independently and away from this household. All my life I've only dreamt of living on my own, away from all the negativity and family trauma that I can't escape. I was hoping that with a job I'll be able to do that, but things have turned so bitter. With all the money I'm spending on the household, I have nothing left to save to get a place of my own. And now there's no one to look after my sister either. I'm in a very hellish state of mind. It feels like a prison. Any advice is appreciated. Too long didn't read. I recently got my first job and my father quit his. I'm being held responsible to pay for the entire household as well as my younger sister's school fee. I want to live away from family independently but can't do that if this goes on. Edit. Thank you so much whoever commented. I'm still new on Reddit and this was the first extremely personal post I made. I'm overwhelmed by the response. I rarely ever reach out to anyone regarding family related matters, so this is huge for me. Edit. 2. Once again, I'm overwhelmed beyond words that all of you took out the time to extend your help and kind words to me. Currently I'm working from home, due to COVID-19, and my office will be opening in January. The office is quite far from where I live now, so that will be when I move out, as I anyhow need to be closer to where I work. I will be discussing all of this with my sister and how to move forward now. We'll keep you guys posted.